Oh yeah, gotta start that recording off right, yo.
I've been up,
Welcome to the
I've been
podcast.
down. Take my
We're gonna go ahead and kill the music. Everybody knows that I did a hiatus from the regular podcast for a little while and focused on the van elections going on right now. And I haven't done that before. It was something new for me. And not only have I not done that, I haven't paid attention to van politics hardly at all. I mean, there's been little things popped up, things that I was concerned with, and this and that. But as far as van politics on a whole, I haven't really paid attention. Things have, in a way, been running like they've always run until recently. Until recently, you start hearing about things and you start seeing the growth that van has going on, and the election kind of got a little bit more predominant this time. Hold on, let me have a drink of beer. And if you don't know anything about my podcast and you're watching this first time in van because of the politics, then introduce you to Hayes Division, which is what this is. Um, I started this podcast as an outreach to my little incubator garage lab type deal where I play with technology. And then that turned into being able to do a podcast about science and technology, and I love science and technology. So that's normally what I do. When I do a podcast, it's about science and technology, or I interview people that have something to do with science and technology in the world. I mean, I've interviewed people that worked at NASA. I've interviewed people that work on lasers all the time, and all those things. And that's what I'm interested in. But with this election going on, a couple people asked me to put signs in my yard and stuff, and I really didn't have anything that says, "Hey, this is why I would vote for you." And so it made me think for a second. It's like, okay, why would I vote for this person over this person? What really is going on in Van where the election cycle and the things that are happening? And so I thought about, hey, what's my one point right now? And it's the pool. The Van pool got filled in 3-4 years ago. And at the same time, the Van City Lake got sold off, and I was concerned with those things when they happened. I didn't know about them until after the fact. And so when these guys come to me and like, hey, can we put a sign in your yard? My question was, well, what's your thoughts on the pool? That turned around and turned into a whole discussion with a number of people about where Van is going. I mean, we got a brand new, gorgeous park, and but Van is growing so fast. We got Two Loves, another truck stop opening, a wonderful hotel. But this growth in Van made me realize real quick that I don't hardly know any of these people that's running for office and deciding how my town is going to move into the future. So I sat back and I talked to, of course, my wife. And if any of y'all ever watch the podcast, Sarah plays a lot big role in what I do and what I don't do because I'm pretty a loose cannon. I will do some crazy shit. And Sarah kind of hones that in and directs me on certain places. So I told her, I said, babe, I think I'm going to ask these guys to come on the podcast because I don't know them, much less everybody in town. And she's like, that might be a good idea. It might not be. I mean, have you been watching what's going on? I mean, because we have a pretty good social media presence. And I'm like, no, I really haven't. And so I reached out to everybody. And I reached out originally with like, hey, what's your thoughts on the pool? And I got a bunch of feedback. And it made me realize that the feedback needed to be more. So I extended out and like, hey, would y'all mind coming on the podcast and telling me your story? Telling me who you are. And I will publish them and allow everybody else to learn what I learned. And everyone was open and agreed to come on the podcast. We had one person I wasn't really able to get a hold of. I've never heard back from our existing mayor, so he is one that you do not see in the podcast series that I just did. Everyone else that's running for office right now did come into the podcast studio. They sat down. We did anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And honestly, with all of them, I could have done more. We could have talked more and more and more about things just outside of politics, but I feel like they got their message across. I have not decided personally who I'm going to vote for in any capacity. The reason I have not decided because it's still weighing on me. I honestly am going to listen to these podcasts again and go back and think about the things that I'm concerned with right now. I am of course concerned with how we build in Van. And the roads are part of it, but it's and I learned through this podcast, it's not just the roads, it's the infrastructure that is currently under our roads, but it's the infrastructure that goes into seeing Van's growth. I'm also really concerned, and I'd like to have someone from the school on because the school is the biggest employer in Van, and how they grow determines how Van is going to grow. And I know that our city has a good working relationship with the Van ISD administration, and I know they know all that, but I don't, and I don't think y'all do. And that is some of the things that I really want to see move forward. Do I plan on doing any of these podcasts in the future? Yes and no. There's a couple guys that come in here and talked about things that in really interested me. So I probably have some of these people back on. Maybe not in a capacity of, hey, I'm running for election. This is my story. But as far as just their story, there's that was the cool thing about this podcast. And I don't think those guys knew that when they come in. I wasn't doing a, hey, tell me what your points are, let's publish it. I was doing, tell me who you are and let's publish that. Because to me, as a voter, there's going to be times where you can't come to me and say, hey, Clyde, what is your opinion if I vote on this? That's not how politics works. Politics works where I judge the best person to represent me, and then they make the decision based off their morals and their values. And that is what we vote for when we vote for a person. We vote for someone who has the morals and values and decision making skills that we like, that we think is the best for what we would do or our interest. And that is the whole purpose of this podcast series, is to get you introduced to these people and what their morals and values are. What what you feel like they're going to vote for when a big bond comes up, or when we get another truck stop. They are asking for us to put another truck stop in, or they're asking for Walmart, because everybody knows I don't want Walmart in Van. I'm okay with Walmart being in Lindale and Canton and Mineola and Tyler. So we got Walmarts all around us. We don't need one in Van. I'm not saying Walmart's coming to Van. I know at one point in time that was a discussion before all the other ones, is that Walmart was coming to Van. We don't need that. But we do need growth. We do need to grow. We do need new houses. We do need a lot of things in Van. And all those can't happen right now. Take the pool, for instance. The whole thing that started off of. We didn't, we can't have a pool right now. A pool costs too much. It's not in the budget. It's not something that we need to push right now. But through this discussion with these people, I realize not only does a pool not need to happen right now, but something else does. We need basketball courts. We need things for kids to do, and those can't happen right now. A basketball court at the new park or even at the old park that's open and allows teenagers to go up there and play basketball where everybody can see them, to me, is something that should happen now. Same thing goes for new streets. I think new streets should happen now. And I'm sure the city has that in their planning. There is a big deal going on that I didn't even know about with a thing called the comprehensive plan or the master plan that the city has built and outlooked. Never heard about it before. I didn't know we had a plan of how we were going to grow. That was an eye opener to me. I have not read it. According to all the people I talked to on this podcast, and if you listen to them, you'll see it's big. Okay. Has somebody broke it down into pieces? I don't know. I will personally tell you, I'm going to go look at it. But if it's 1,000, 2,000 pages, am I going to find that one little point in there that I'm concerned about? Am I going to find how it grows? So, and honestly, I think somebody at the chamber, the city, the mayor, somewhere in there needs to explain to us what this really means, how it's going to work. As you heard on some of the podcasts, there's been situations already where people can build this in a area and people can build this in an area. These things we all need to understand and know. How that works, I don't know. I really don't. I know so far, Van has changed from when I was a kid. Not just the city, but the isolationist that I felt like growing up that Van was. We were neutral all the way around, and we were not going to grow. We wanted to keep it the way we were, and that's worked out for us. But as we're moving forward, I don't think that's always going to work for us. But I think we need to hold on to it. And I heard that from just about every person that come on the podcast, was that they understand that Van has something special, that these other towns are not Van. They might have something. Let's take basketball goes in Mineola. They might have something that works for them that we could do as well. But we will never be Grand Saline, Ben Wheeler, Brownsboro, Canton. And we don't want to be. We want to be who we are. And that's a good thing. And I got that from every guy right now and gal that's running for election. And I appreciate it. I'd also learn more about these people. And that's what politics is supposed to be about, especially small town politics, where you got someone running for something. You want to know who they are. You don't want this person. And I recently did this. I voted for Charles Ryan in the last election because he told me the other person running is not from here, but not, and that's not necessarily a big deal, but it's also that he didn't represent Van. And I looked into it a little bit and I voted for Charles Ryan. And everybody knows that's not normally going to happen. There's a lot. I vote for people that I feel like at that situation is going to do what's right. I, at the same point in time, I've never voted for Amanda Davis, but I support Amanda Davis 100%. I've always said my politician, when I vote for someone or say somebody represents me, they represent me as long as they're doing what I want them to do. My goals, my opinions. The moment they don't, I will vote them out. Let me phrase this. I will do my best to vote them out. That's what politics is about. When someone gets in there and they don't live up to what you believe, in 2 years, you get to vote again. And they get to go out. So far, we've had pretty good politicians. Van has grown on a nice level up until this point. But at this point, I feel like it's growing bigger. And we have to make larger decisions. We have to grow constructively because we're all here looking. I got 7 boys. And as they grow up, do I expect them all to come back to Van? No, I really hope they don't. I hope they go out and live a life. Have it, does it look like that's what happens? Yes, it does. When you raise people in a good environment, they come back to that environment after they experience world. And when they do that, they bring things with them. And we've seen that. We've seen that with a lot of the young generation, younger than me, that's come back to Van and brought things to Van. And we have to be ready for them. We have to give them the abilities and the things that they need back in Van. Do we want a Starbucks? No. We got a good coffee shop. We can have a couple more. Honestly, we could have a couple more coffee shops. We're getting a speakeasy downtown, which is a bar and grill. Love it. Those kind of things I'm looking at for Van to grow. And I will support. I will support it with my voice and my money. That is what we're looking for in Van. We're looking for businesses. We're looking for growth. We're looking for student bodies. We're looking for all these things. But at the same time, our politicians got to think about the younger generation because that's who we're looking to come back. That's who we're playing for. The one thing that someone said on this podcast that has stuck with me and played through my mind over and over and over was maybe 10, 15 years ago, the city council went to the school and asked seniors and juniors what they thought Van needed for themselves here. They wrote it all down, and then these people have come back to Van and now live here and say that none of that's happened. So we ask for opinions, but we don't use them. Honestly, I think that should be a goal, a time stamped goal for our city council to go ask those kids what they want and Van needs and then do it every year. I'm not saying to do it every time they want this, we do this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you take that paper that you did for 10 years and look at it and check off how many of those things are the same thing year after year and how many of those things have we done. That is a goal. Because if everybody's out here saying we want this and it never happens, if we want new roads and we don't get new roads, or we want a new Brookshire's, or we don't want truck stops, and I'm not saying I don't want truck stops, but I'm saying if we're saying this and it's never happened, then we're not being represented right. At the moment, I feel like we're being represented right. I do not think the age bracket from, say, 12 to 22, 23 is being represented in Van at all. And what y'all don't realize is that when those kids move off and they come back home, if they see those things happen in Van, they're likely to bring their families back here. And the cool thing that everybody's got to realize is that if they went to school in Van, then they've been raised in our image. They've been raised to know what Van is. They're the best citizens. They're the best people to bring back. I do like how Van's growing, and I do like where we're going. I like where we're at now. I have no complaints. I really, really, really enjoyed having all these people on the podcast. I learned more about how the whole process works. I hope y'all enjoy this series. It's not anything I planned or expected. I hope you enjoy my podcast. Go listen to some of the other episodes. It's about science and technology. We drink in the garage, we smoke cigars, and we talk science and where technologies is going to take us, robots and virtual reality and all that stuff. And if you see me around town or you want to stop by and do a podcast, send me an email. All my shit's on here. All in all, I'm very proud of where I live. I'm very proud of the people that's running for office. I have not chosen who I'm going to vote for, but the deal is I'm going to vote. And why I'm going to vote is because supposedly 200 people is all that normally votes. My vote is 1/200%. That could, with 4 people in running, that could make the difference. So I do ask, hey, go vote. I mean, this is, especially if you listen to one of these podcasts and say, this dude right here is right up my alley. He's saying the things we need for Van. Please go vote for him or her. I mean, it's serious. This is a big deal right now. Again, thank y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting these guys. And I really appreciate these guys giving me some dude in his garage with some computers and a big server doing an AI thing the time to come in and sit down with me. I had a great time. I'm telling you, I had a great time. So, all in all, Clyde Hayes, Hayes Division. Y'all follow us. Y'all come by, check me out. I'm open. I got a sign on the side. Yeah, you can play with my lasers. Clyde Hayes out, y'all. Thank you. Bye.